Hi, everyone. We are just about to go live on the free Insight Timer app, so I warmly welcome you to join us there.
The birds make this very idyllic.
Mhm. Mm. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We will wait a few moments before we begin. Hi, Shira. How is our sound? How's our connection? Hi, Michelle. Aloha. Hi, Neil. Morning. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Brad. Hi, Shannon. I'll see you soon, Shannon. Okay, great. Glad to hear. Glad to hear. Wonderful. Hmm. Hi, everyone. I invite you, if you wish, go ahead and share in the chat where you are today in the world and maybe something you're grateful for. Okay, let us officially begin. A very warm welcome. And if this is your first time here, extra warm welcome to you. So grateful to be together. My name is Selena Layel, and today we are joined by one of my dear friends and guest teachers, Jivan Das. Want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here with you in this community and very happy to be here with you too.
Me too. Me too. So, in a moment, I will introduce Jivan Das. We'll have a meditation experience, and then we're going to dive in to a conversation today with Jivan Das to receive his wisdom and his expertise, which he has so much to share with us. Oh, yeah. Hi, Bob. Happy Earth Day. Mm, wonderful, Brad. Me too. Hi, TS. Great to see you. Wonderful. Hi, Tracy. Michelle shares Southern Oregon coast, grateful for friends. Tracy shares, hello, beautiful ones. Love from Massachusetts. I'm grateful for you too. Grateful for you, my love. Hi, Camille. Camille shares Miami, and I am grateful from my heart. Also, both of you and community. Yes. Oh, so beautiful. For those of you who don't know, Tracy McCree, who is here today, is a dear, dear one to me and also an incredible teacher. So full of love and compassion and presence. And I really invite you to check her work out if you haven't already. Okay, my dears. So, again, for those of you just joining, warm welcome. We have these live sessions weekly. You can check my schedule here on the Insight Timer app to see when they are each week. They're usually on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Today, though, we have a very special treat. Other than being one of my dear friends and longtime brothers, Jivan Das is a licensed clinical psychotherapist. He is the author of the best selling book, Who You Are is How You Parent. He is an expert in the field of working with struggling teens and their families. And he's also a monk, yet fully living in the world. He is such an embodiment of compassion and love and presence. And we are so, so fortunate and blessed to have him here with us today. Yeah, thank you. I remember I'll share just a brief story before we move into our meditation. So I've known Jivan Das now for 20 years or so. And I remember there was a time, it was actually before he had become a monk, um, maybe, I don't know, 12 years ago or something like that. And he had clearly been doing a lot of very intentional work inside of himself. We share the same beloved Guruji, Her Holiness Saima. And I remember I saw him and I was taken by the walking embodiment of love that he is. He just felt in that moment, I remember feeling like, wow, I'm standing in the presence of the Divine Mother. The love emanating from him in that moment was so unmistakable and
Mhm.
clear to me. And he's just continued to be an embodiment of such love.
Mm.
And he's also a very dynamic human being. He's a what is the word that we put before rock climber?
High performance.
High performance rock climber, baby.
So intense. Well, it has to be so intense, but, it is. It is intense, yes.
Like hang off a mountain sometimes without any gear. Don't you do that sometimes?
Used to, yeah.
Free soloing?
Keep that in the DL
Oh,
though.
sorry. That never happened. That never happened. Anyway, so we're very fortunate to have him with us. So before we dive in with Jivan Das's wisdom, let's take a moment to center together, to ground together. As always, we will move into the centering technique. If you're unable to move your body, you can visualize this and still receive benefit. So, if possible, I invite you to sit tall. We'll bring the palms to touch at the heart center. And I'm not sure how the view is
Mhm.
these days on Insight Timer, but if you're seeing Jivan Das and I kind of cut off, I believe if you turn your device horizontally, you should be able to see us both clearly. Let's take a full breath in and out together. And now we will inhale as we reach the right hand all the way up to the sky. Jeev and I are mirroring you, left hand down by navel. Exhale slowly to bring the hands back to the heart. I love to go slow on this part to really activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Inhale, left hand up, right hand by navel, maybe straighten the upper arm. Exhale slowly to the heart. Inhale, right hand up, left hand by navel, open the chest. Exhale to the heart. Beautiful. Feel the palms and fingers touching. Feel the breath flowing in and out of the body. Bring one hand to the heart center, the other hand to the belly if possible. Feel your shoulders softening, relaxing down. If the eyes are open, you may wish to close them. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Inhale deeply, feel the belly and rib cage expanding. Exhale, feel the body settling. One more breath like this. You may wish to continue holding the body in this way. Otherwise, I invite you to let the hands rest on the thighs or the lap with the palms facing upward. Feel the top of the head lifting up toward the sky, lengthening the spine. As you inhale, visualize two beams of light moving in through the nostrils into the brain, filling the brain with light. And as you exhale, this light gently moves down the spine all the way to the pelvis. Inhale these two beams of light through the nostrils into the brain, filling the brain with this light, expanding. Exhale, this light moves down the spine. With each breath, this light expands even more in the brain, in the torso. This light begins to fill the entire body with each breath. Release the visualization. And for these next few moments, as you inhale, silently repeat the word I. And as you exhale, silently repeat the word am. Inhaling I, exhaling am. Welcoming this light, this presence, this essence of who you are. Let us take a deep, conscious breath in and out together. Feel your body supported by whatever is beneath you, behind you. Slowly begin to move the fingers and toes. And when you feel ready to, open the eyes. Mm, thank you. Mm. Again, a warm welcome to everyone. It's wonderful to be together, to see you. So, Jivan Das,
Yes.
I'd love to hear from you. Anything you wish to share with us as we dive into our conversation?
Great. Well, I'll start with a story. Thank you for that meditation.
Thank
It
you.
was very lovely.
Yeah, your
Did that all
Shakti was
day.
overpowering me. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can stop meditating. It's so powerful.
So nice. So nice. Um, the moment that you described, that with me and the experience that you had is very sweet and it's very generous. And I want to share a story of my own personal transformation that both describes an aspect of who I am, just so you get to know me a little bit, but also about who we can become and what we can practice in terms of navigating conflict, difficulties in relationships, and some principles that we can not even just practice, but embody in our lives to create fulfilling relationships and a wonderful experience of ourselves in our life.
Mm.
So, about 20 years ago, I was engaged in a therapy training after I got my master's in counseling. And we were in this practice where we were all clients and therapists for each other. We were learning and doing work with each other. And I was a senior leader of this training that lasted about 3 years. And it was the first year of our like senior year as our clients, as we were participants. And we were leaders in the community, the training community, but there were also facilitators there. So we were like the senior students, they're facilitators, and we were in a weekend intensive. We were practicing doing therapy with each other, different techniques and different paradigms. So I went into this weekend and I felt really confident. And it had been something I had wanted to do for those couple of years. I'd looked up to other senior participants before and had learned a lot from them. So it felt very important for me to be a leader and to bring myself forth with all that I learned, to guide people, to share with people. And it felt important to me to demonstrate a certain degree of leadership and confidence in myself. And I did that in the way that I knew how at that time. And so during the weekend, I felt very proud. I felt very strong. I felt very confident. And something felt a little bit off, but I didn't know why. And Friday night happened. It was like a little bit awkward, but I was like, I don't know what's going on, but that's fine. The Saturday happened, Sunday happened. At the end of the weekend, there was definitely something was a little off. Now I was probably like 25 years old. So I was pretty young and I thought I knew everything and knew nothing. so so the weekend ended and things felt a little bit off, but I still felt good about how confident and how strong I had been with everyone. And on Monday, the day after the training ended, the lead trainer called me and asked me to see him in his office. I thought, naively and now embarrassingly, that I thought he was going to like give me some kind of a promotion or ask to become a staff member, a faculty member, because of how well I had been a leader in that weekend. Well, you can see where this is going. So I went into his office, and again, proud, confident, and we sat down, and he told me that two new people had quit the program because of how I treated them. And three more were in significant discussions with the faculty about getting refunds and maybe leaving. And the faculty was working on having them stay.
Wow.
I was quite shattered and embarrassed and humiliated. Again, not because of how I was, but how I had impacted people.
Mm.
And I started crying, and it was a shocking moment, and he had thought that, I had done all of that on purpose,
Mm.
that I had, like, hurt them on purpose. It was just
Mm.
and so I cried for a while, and then he realized that I was actually felt really bad and that, that what we talked a bit, and he understood that's not really who I was or what my intent was, and he essentially said, "You've got a lot of work to do. You've got a lot of work to do." And
Mm.
he had missed that, and I think I had hid this key aspect of my personality that was quite destructive in my relationships, and for me, that quality was arrogance.
Mm.
The arrogance has this ability to not only have us not see others and experience others, but it has us not experience and see ourselves. Arrogance had me cover up my own insecurities that were quite profound. And if you know anyone who's arrogant in your life and you see this as a pattern in them, or even better, if you see the pattern of arrogance in yourself, know that it only exists because we don't feel safe.
Mm.
It only exists, and the more arrogant we are, the more insecure that we are. They're a direct relationship with each other. And so it was the first time, and I had lived, a while at that point in the world helping people. And I was gone through graduate school and I'd worked with kids for probably 8 years at that point. I'd never realized what a profound impact, negative impact, my arrogance had on people.
Mm.
And just as importantly, on myself. I was so disconnected from myself. And I realized how deeply insecure I was as a person and how desperately I worked to cover that up. And I see this a lot when I work with people in my life, and less so even in my own personal life, around the destructive quality that arrogance can have. and how it can not only create but sustain conflict. Because arrogance doesn't have us want to be vulnerable. It keeps us on a pedestal where we can kind of look down on other people and we don't have to feel connected to them. Because for people that are really arrogant, connection is scary because connection means that we're putting something on the line. We're being vulnerable. We're showing our heart. We're talking about insecurities. We're sharing things that we're not maybe that sure about in ourselves or in our world. So just to speak to how important it is for us to recognize I've never met anybody who wasn't arrogant in some way. I think it's so important for each of us to recognize how we carry arrogance in our life. Now, here's an interesting thing about arrogance that I didn't realize until our guru told us about this aspect. Shame can be an expression of arrogance. And here's how. Shame, in its most insidious form, has us believe and feel like we're not deserving of love, that we're so bad, or we're so small, or we're so unworthy of love or of care that we don't deserve any of the good things that just naturally come to us as people or as souls. And shame is an aspect of arrogance because we think we know better. We think no, 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 we're not deserving of love. I'm actually really terrible. No, 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 don't bring me love. Don't bring me care. I know better. I'm actually a really bad person. I don't have value and I'm not worthy of love. No, no, no. It's like a rejection. It's like knowing better than really people that care about us or spirit or God or soul or our own heart, right? It has us, some aspect of our personality thinks we know better than we are, that we deserve love and we think we know better. So arrogance is one of these very insidious qualities that can, as I said, create conflict or sustain conflict in our lives. And the more that we can recognize that, and in my example, how I received this feedback and allowed myself to practice humility. And here's the end of the story. So I did a lot of work with myself for a few weeks between that intensive and the next one. And the next intensive, luckily, those 3 people stayed in the program. The 2 had left, unfortunately, which I felt heartbroken about. The first thing that I did is they gave me an opportunity to share. And so I stood in front of the room, we were in a big circle, and I shared how sincerely regretful I was at how I had impacted everybody. And I shared how deeply insecure I actually was and how it was a huge blind spot for me, not only in this training, but in my life. And I asked for forgiveness and asked for patience and understanding. And I also welcomed any kind of feedback or the impact that I made on other people. And you could feel everyone's heart softened. They were less, defensive, or they were less upset. And it really created a lovely space for all of us to do our work together. And I'll never forget that moment because it still carries me through whenever I notice myself gripping in my life or thinking I know better than someone else, triggered in some way and feeling defensive. I remember it's like, what am I afraid of in this moment? What insecurity am I running from or I hiding within myself? And so and it's very difficult to be in conflict in relationships when you're really humble, when we're really willing to take ownership. And like you did practice very beautifully in the beginning of this, when we're really generous with how we see people and we're willing to be humble enough to take ownership for anything, it's very difficult to have conflict in relationships because conflict is inspired by that kind of arrogance or that kind of rigidity and not being generous, really being selfish. So I wanted to start the conversation, just that story, and something I learned about myself.
Thank you, Jivan Das. Really moving and touching and relatable. I'd love to dive in and I'll read some of your comments that have been coming through. And we're here, Jivan Das is here to be a support. So if you have specific questions for Jivan Das, today's topic is around finding repair and conflict. But of course, anything in this realm, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll come to them. It's clear that we have not just an expert in all of his studies, but an expert of embodiment, meaning when we have practiced something so much, we can really show up differently rather than just bringing the teachings to it. So we have the gift of having Jivan Das here and being able to share with us. So let's come to some of your comments. John, I see you shared, I need this live. A sales rep that I worked closely with at Borders Books office, who I considered also a friend, has died. Oh, I love you. Holding you in my heart, my dearest. I'm glad you're here. Always glad you're here and glad that you can be held in love in our community today. Yes, Drake. At the end of the session, we will take a moment to work with the violet flame. Just a moment for today, though. And of course, you can activate the violet flame on your own right now in this very moment. For anyone who's unfamiliar with the violet flame, this is an esoteric uh, uh, teaching with this powerful tool that we can use, this powerful embodied tool that we can use to transmute any energy. So you can work with the violet flame right now, just invoking it with your mind, with your words, visualizing it within you, around you, in any relationship, around the whole planet, however you're wishing for the violet flame to serve. And instantly, it's there to serve. Tracy shares, because of the hidden nature of this, easy to get lost in the shadow. Thank you for this example and teaching. Yes. Yes. Bob shares, John, sending you and your friend lots of love. Take things gently, Bob. Yes. Hi, Chris. Great to see you. Wonderful. Hi, Anika. Anika shares, bowing in with deep love and gratitude. Greetings, Sangha, Selena, and all soul siblings. That's cute. I've never seen that one before. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Look at all this love coming through. So much love here for you, John and Bob. Beautiful. Yes, Bob, we'll come back to your comment here, and then we're going to move into the questions coming through for Jivan Das. So Bob shared, that makes me laugh. Mandy and I were in London before we were recording. We saw a monk. Mandy saw him and said, I'd love to hug him. I said, so that's what I've got to do to be hugged. That was my chat up line. It would have been our 40th wedding anniversary next month. Oh, yes, my love. I love you. I'm so glad you're here and that we can be together in this tenderness of love. And if you wish, Bob also, John also, let's just hold our hearts. Hold your heart for a moment. Feel my hands on your hands. Feel all of us here in our love together with you, just as you are. And we can all place our hands on our own hearts. Many of us can use a moment of this loving kindness, just feeling that our heart is being held by ourselves with each other. Okay, let's come to your questions. Questions for Jivan. Okay, Kiara asks, how can you resolve inner conflict with yourself? It's like I'm in a boxing ring with 10 different people. It's so draining. I've been in bed for 2 weeks.
Well, this is a great question because a lot of us, before we have that conflict that happens with other people, it's usually an expression of how we're conflicted with ourselves in some aspect of ourselves or some aspect of our life that we're bringing into this relationship. The best practice that I've found, both for myself and with the people that I work with, is around acceptance. And in psychology, we have this theory called the paradoxical theory of change, which means that it's impossible to change anything about ourselves until we fully accept it. And it's interesting because there's this moment where, let's say, we have an inner anger or an inner depression or an inner anxiety, some experience or emotion that's happening inside of us, and it's very uncomfortable and we don't want to feel it. I mean, I get it. When I feel anxious or unsettled or upset about something, it's counterintuitive to open myself to it because it feels like it's just going to feel we're going to feel more of it, right? That we'll feel more anxious if I open myself to it, feel more angry. And it's a paradox because the more that we practice, it may not happen the first time we do it, but the more that we practice opening to whatever that experience is that we're resisting, the greater chance it has to dissolve and to move. Emotion is energy in motion. And so, whenever we're struggling with those inner experiences that are so difficult and so uncomfortable, and especially when we feel in our body, like our solar plexus is tied up or our shoulders are tight, it's like the more that we can allow ourselves and welcome that experience to just exist, to just be there, to move through us, the less potential it has to have a grip on us. It's really just like shining the light of our awareness onto something so that we can see it, we can experience it. And even if we can allow ourselves to welcome it the most that we can, what happens in that moment is our heart opens. And there's a certain energy that takes place, a certain strength, a certain courage. And at the same time, with that acceptance, it dissipates any resistance. And I'm sure we've all heard that we resist persists. And acceptance is really one definition of acceptance is just the lack of resistance. So the more that we can practice that acceptance of the experience that we're having in any moment, the more that those will just shift and move and something else will happen. And then, of course, there's the practice of doing things that are good for ourselves, that have ourselves feel good, like exercise and eating well and sleeping well and meditating and all those things. But the more that we can practice that kind of acceptance of an experience inside of ourselves, then the more likely that harmony extends out into our relationships.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you for your question, Kiara, and thank you, Jeev. So Jivan does, let's say that I'm like, Kiara, I've been in bed for 2 weeks just because I just feel so much turmoil inside, right? Like I'm in a boxing ring with 10 people coming at me constantly. And it's just painful. Maybe I don't even know how to describe it, but I just feel stuck in the experience.
Yeah.
How do I accept something like that?
Yeah.
Like in the moment where I'm lying in bed in turmoil
Yeah.
or numbing out, like what can I actually do in that moment to meet the opponents in the boxing ring?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll describe my own experience when I have iterations of that kind of experience with myself. The first thing is I just let myself feel miserable if I feel miserable. Just take a minute, whatever the minute is. Maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's a few hours, maybe it's a night. Whatever it is, I allow myself to just have the experience and not resist it. And sometimes it is miserable. Sometimes it's really uncomfortable, whatever it is that we might be going through, whatever I'm going through. I always, as a practice, allow myself to just experience it and feel it. And then the second step, which I think is critical, is doing something about it, right? So I know for myself, if I stay in bed, even like on the weekends, if I lay around, if I stay in bed like past 8 a.m., it's not good for my mind. I start to kind of drift. I start to get in lethargy. Other people are probably different, but we wake up early in our world. So that's sleeping in. But anyway, it's just about getting out and doing something with my body that I know is good for me. That usually for me is meditating. It's taking a shower. It's making my bed. It's like moving on with my life. It's like creating or contributing to something, even if I feel terrible. And I think that's one of the cruxes of personal transformation is not believing our feelings, not letting our feelings dictate the choices that we make. They're critical in terms of understanding ourselves and becoming self-aware and not resisting. But it's also critically important to do things we know are good, even if we don't feel like doing them. It's so important. And the reason is because that's where resilience is born. It's doing something we know is good for us or that we've made a commitment to do, even if we don't want to. Because there's a certain strength and a certain courage that gets born in that moment, and that helps us navigate the next difficult internal time that we have. There's something inside of our brains and inside of our psychology. It's like, I did this before, I can do it again. And we start to build some momentum little by little. Right?
Excellent.
You know this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember a long time ago, it was actually Bex, and I think for sure Bex, one of our dearest friends, Becky, she was coaching me around this because I am such a big feeler. I have such intense emotions. I'm so freaking empathic and like am bombarded by my own feelings all of the time. And I let them run me. I would be making all of my decisions based on my feelings, whether I felt high or low or wherever I was. And that creates a very messy life experience because it's totally, what's the word? Like, it's unreliable for
Mm,
me to be making my life decisions based on my ever-changing emotions.
mm,
So I'm so grateful for that being part of my path of learning to, of course, work with emotion, be with emotion, not repress it or spiritually bypass it, but to also take action and stay true to my commitments to myself, even if I wasn't feeling like it.
mhm,
So, and that's been a huge learning curve. That
mhm,
one isn't easy because there have been a million times, and I'm probably not even exaggerating, that I haven't wanted to do what I should, and it served me. Um, let's move on. I could share more on that, but hopefully that helps, my dear. And thank you for your vulnerability and
yeah.
just sending you so much love and strength and compassion as you're navigating that inner turmoil. I am so familiar with that experience in myself, and just loving you as you're navigating that. Okay, we have so many great questions and comments that have come in, so we're just going to get to as many as we can. Tia shared, I've learned that co regulation, if at all possible, is important before talking, especially if there's overwhelm, even if that's simply eye contact or a hand on a shoulder. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, Tracy. Jivan, can you help us walk through if we see this aspect of arrogance and then show up in vulnerability in a difficult conversation, conflict, and meet shutdown or resistance? Is that clear? Do you need
I
to
don't
read it
understand.
again? Okay,
Yeah,
can you
if you
walk
could
us through
translate.
if we see, yeah. Okay, can you walk us through if we see the arrogance and then we show up in vulnerability in a difficult conversation and we're met with shutdown? So, my love, the question is from for me, are you saying when you see the arrogance in yourself or when you see the arrogance in the other? It sounds like maybe yourself. So you see that there's arrogance in you. So you show up to a conversation with greater, yes, you see it in self. So you see it in yourself, and so because you see it, you practice consciously showing up to conflict, being more vulnerable, but the person isn't meeting you in their vulnerability
Mm,
or your vulnerability. They're showing up
great,
shut down and resistant rather than meeting you in your newfound vulnerability.
great moment. It's a great moment. It's a great moment because it's not rewarding it's not giving us something from the outside world and rewarding our behavior. The reward is actually practicing it.
Mhm.
It's not expecting. This is great. It's a really good question and a great topic because another aspect that keeps conflict sustained in our relationships is expecting people to be a way that's different than how they are. Now, how they are might not work for your relationship,
Mhm.
which is fine. And that's another conversation around, does this relationship really even serve me?
Mhm.
Right. And then there's the whole case of like, well, what about if I'm in a relationship where I have to be around them no matter what? How do I navigate that? Which
Mhm.
is another conversation. But in this case, it's a wonderful, uncomfortable, but a wonderful, uncomfortable moment because it speaks to, why am I being vulnerable? Am I being vulnerable to make an impact on that person, or am I being vulnerable for myself? And dare I say, the answer should be, it's for ourselves. It's for that experience of ourselves. And we really unlock a certain power in ourselves when we can be however we are, whether that's vulnerable, whether that's shaken, whether that's insecure, and don't expect anyone else to be a certain way with us. I mean, the more and more that I think, one of the best ways of having happiness in your life is becoming a leader in your life. And being a leader means that you don't expect other people to be a certain way when you're a certain way, right? It's like we create circumstances, we create people to be a certain way. And one of the things that I've found, and it's taken, a lot of practice in doing, is that I can create experiences in other people when it's compelling for them not to. In the example that you gave, you show up to this certain relationship, you recognize that you had arrogance, you recognize that, okay, there's actually an insecurity here that I was covering up for myself. Okay, I'm going to be vulnerable, I'm going to open up, I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to do it with this person, and it may not go well. So what happens if it doesn't go well? Am I going to then birth another resentment about that person, or am I going to take this as an opportunity for myself to practice more resilience? I'm not actually doing it for that person or for that relationship, but I'm doing this for me because I want to be more resilient. I want to be more open. I want to be less insecure. I want to be more confident in that pure way, not just like manosphere, bromance, kind of confidence, like actually whole, embodied, heartful confidence, right? Where I'm not hiding anything. So I think that's the key. And again, I say this like, happily, jokingly with you, but it's also true. It's like a great opportunity for people to not show up the way that we expect them to show up.
That one's a big one. That
Yeah.
one's a big one. Tracy shared, I agree, and no expectation, just left open-ended with someone I will be in community with.
It's fantastic. It's great because especially if it's open-ended, if it's going to be awkward, let them feel awkward. You're not awkward. You're just you. You're open. Maybe you feel like uncomfortable because you shared a lot and they didn't reciprocate or it created an awkward moment because they're like, wow, they just overshared. It's fine. Let them handle that. For
Mhm.
you and yourself, just become more and more secure in yourself of like, okay, maybe I did like share more that was comfortable for them, but you know what? Like, I'm good. It's okay. Like, I'm good with that. I'm good with myself.
So, can I
Yeah,
ask something
please.
here? Because what I'm hearing and what Tracy's sharing or what I'm feeling in myself
Mm.
is, what if I'm not good with myself yet?
Yeah.
Like, what if I'm still like, all right, I'm doing this thing, I'm showing up. Oh shit, this is really uncomfortable. I don't like this anymore. Like, where is the bridge of not being good with myself yet to being able to accept
Yeah.
that this is where things are?
This is your expertise.
Okay.
The compassion. The compassion with myself. Oh, I feel so uncomfortable. Why did I say that? Oh, that moment when your head hits the pillow and you're just like, oh God, why did I say that? Oh goodness, what happened? Why did I do that? Okay, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Things are somehow going to be okay. This is going to be an awkward situation I'm going to have to navigate, and somehow I don't know how, but somehow this is going to work out. Oh God, I love myself. I'm okay. It's going to be okay, and I'm okay. Right?
Yeah, I like that. I like
that. Yeah.
Tracy said to be continued with Selena. I'll see you in our one-on-one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank
Yeah.
you, Jivan. Yes, really. I mean, because there is a bridge, right? I mean, there's
Mhm.
this ideal of like, I'm good, I can handle this. And then there's like the reality of the parts of me. I see TS was sharing that they've been doing IFS work for 10 months. Um, internal family systems, it's parts work, yes, working with these different parts of us. There's this bridge to be with the parts of us that don't feel totally confident or grounded in
Mhm.
it yet. And for me, that really is the practice of compassion, being with things as they are. Just to kind of also share one little piece that addresses what Kiara was sharing earlier also, there's this powerful practice that many of you are familiar with, of feeling the feelings and dropping the story.
Mm.
Yes, sometimes the story about what we're experiencing is very helpful. It can really guide us to greater awareness. And yet, oftentimes, or a lot of the time, letting go of the story and really bringing our awareness to this physical sensations in the body can help us move through something. Because what so often happens is we get caught in the thoughts about what we're feeling, about what's happening, and it creates this endless loop. It's just this loop that keeps going, painful emotions, painful thoughts, painful emotions, painful thoughts, and we're just caught. And sometimes we try to say affirmations or think our way
Mm.
out of it, but it's not giving us that full experience of releasing and discharging from the
Mhm.
body. So, feeling the feelings, dropping the story. How do we do that? We go and we meet ourselves in the body. Okay, I feel like these 10 boxers are in the ring with me. Where do I feel it in my body? Oh, I feel tension in my throat. I feel a heaviness in my heart. I feel a wound up feeling in my belly. So I go to that feeling in my throat and I let myself feel it. What does it feel like? It's tight, it's cold, it's uncomfortable. Okay, I feel that feeling in my physical body. And every time the mind comes up and says, "Oh, but it's because of this thing and that thing," I say, "Okay, I'm just setting those thoughts to the side just for now, just for a moment." And I keep feeling my body. I breathe into the sensations in my body. I even have this practice of welcoming the discomfort of the sensation. And for any of you who've done this with me or you've done it on your own, you know that when you really feel the body, what happens? It dissolves. When you feel the pain, the discomfort, the tension in the body, and you're truly with it without feeding the story, the pain dissolves. I've been doing this work personally for decades. I grew up with my dad teaching it to me. And I've done this work with my beloveds who are studying with me for also decades at this point, and it works. It's just golden. So I invite this for any of us who are feeling stuck and we can't get out of that moment of distress.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, please.
What's really for myself, and again with people that I've worked with, what's interesting about that is that we can do all of that somatic work, that acceptance work that brings that relief. And if there's a similar pattern that the same thing keeps happening in our bodies
Mm,
or the same thing keeps happening in our lives, I found for myself, what's the narrative? Like, what's the story or the narrative that I keep creating,
mm,
maybe even
mhm,
unknowingly,
mhm,
that I keep creating that has the same thing happen in different relationships and different people or in
mhm,
my body. For myself, I remember I had this pain in my lower back. I was talking with you
mhm.
about this a while back, and you gave me this great little, what did you say? Suck your belly button in thing.
Kind of, yes. Draw your data toward your spine to engage your muscles.
I just like suck your belly button in, bro. All right. Well, that worked, but it also elicited a certain tension and a certain stress that was related to how I saw certain people in my life and
Mm,
certain aspects of them that I didn't appreciate.
mm,
And as I started to, again, it was very subconscious, but it kept happening. I mean, I do lots of yoga, I'm very flexible, very fit, but I was like, why does this keep happening? Selena, you're like, suck your something. And I'm just like, all right, just suck in your belly button more. Oh, and by the way, there are these things in these relationships that really don't work that keep stressing me out that I let myself get upset by. And as
mhm,
soon as I started to look at that and soften around these aspects of these relationships that I would let myself, maybe even make myself get upset by, and I accepted that quality in them and then accepted the experience I was having in myself. And then I looked at the narrative of like, why do I, and for me, the narrative was judgment.
mm,
Why do I keep judging them about this?
mm.
Relax, bro. Relax. And then I did the suck the navel thing. And now I don't have it at all. It's gone.
Which is another powerful teaching that we could dive into, but I want to get to some of your comments as we're coming to a close soon, which is a teaching that I learned from our beloved guru, which is that everything starts energetically. These are ancient esoteric teachings and knowledge of it's not even really esoteric actually. It's just we don't have the technology yet to really see our energetic bodies and understand the impact they really have on us, but everything starts energetically. So that means that any and as always, I'm not saying you need to believe what I believe. I'm not saying that we have to agree on anything. If this resonates for you, great, take it on. If not, leave it behind. Everything starts energetically. Everything starts emotionally, energetically. So that means the energy of a thought, the energy of emotion. Before a physical ailment or discomfort arises in the body, it has started someplace else already. So what Jivan Das is sharing about this pain in the back, and even though I'm giving him some anatomical cues, it wasn't really rooted in that. It was rooted in this judgment that was activating in his chakras, in his bodies, causing this pain to continuously arise. And then through acceptance, the energy, that lock in his body, energetically was released, therefore releasing the physical pain. So, all right.
True. True.
Good job, bro.
Okay.
All right. Let's come back to some of your comments, questions, comments. All right. Let's see here. Mhm. All right. Brad asks, how do you get beyond your own mind to be able to recognize your own arrogance? Whoops. Uh, your own arrogance. I think it said if others don't let you know.
Mm, well, it's a great question. Um, I think it's well, in my experience, if I really look at myself and I just spend some time with myself around how am I an arrogant person?
Mm,
And what's the distinction between arrogance and authenticity, right? Arrogance has us covering up something, hiding something, compensating because of something else. That's one thing, is to just look at the distinction for yourself. How am I arrogant and how am I authentic in different parts of my life? You can look at different relationships or different circumstances in your life. And then the other piece is to look at how, what am I insecure about?
mm.
Like if I look at myself, look at my life, what are the things that I'm insecure about in my life? I'll share a couple with you. I have had the same size teeth and ears since I've been 6. So I had really big teeth.
Really?
Yeah, you had seen the photos?
Yeah, but really? Oh, you're so cute.
No. Well, I get made fun of a lot. I remember this one, Elise Feldhausen turned around in 6th grade and she was like, "You look like an eggplant." I was like, "Egg? I don't even know what an eggplant is."
About your teeth or ears? Eggplants don't look like your teeth or ears.
It was like Mr. Potato Head when you put the
Mm.
eggs son. Anyway,
Let's hold your heart, Jeep. Hold your heart, Jeep. Let's do a little parts work.
okay.
Fine.
Anyway, and all kidding aside, there are aspects of ourselves probably that all of us have that we're insecure about, whether it might be your like I don't feel insecure about my ears and teeth anymore. But
Great, because
they're
they're beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. What are the aspects of ourselves that we're insecure about? Maybe it's a certain way that we show up in our job or in our role. You know, maybe I don't think I'm a good parent sometimes, or I don't think I'm a good son or a good mother or a good brother, whatever it is. What is the things that I'm not, that I'm insecure, that I judge myself for not being where I think I should be, right? That's a great place to look in terms of insecurity, because if you don't have it, in fact, I've sort of discovered both for myself and with people that I work with, the people that become the most embodied, not are the they aren't the ones who are the least insecure. They're the ones that are the most familiar with their own
Mm,
insecurities. They're the
mhm,
people out there that are so they're just like, yeah, I'm pretty insecure about that actually,
mhm,
and they can actually say that, like, I'm not very good at that, right?
mhm,
That's a weakness in my psychology. That's a weakness in my life. I'm not very good at that actually.
mm.
I'm kind of embarrassed about that thing.
Yeah,
Wow, there's a certain security that just emerges out of that, and therefore there's no reason for arrogance to be there
yeah,
because you're not hiding anything or covering up anything.
yeah. Yeah, the vulnerability and the authenticity disarm the arrogance.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, well said.
beautiful. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
And I wish we could get to all of your comments. You can
Mhm.
see I'm kind of picking out the questions here, but yeah, Angie shared dis-ease in the mind manifests. It's just so great to see you all. Antonio, hi, darling.
Glad we answered your question, Brad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Macy. Oh, great. Great, great, great. Love you. Okay, let's see. We're coming back. Okay. Oh, Pauline was sharing. Thank you, Jivan, for sharing so openly. I currently struggle with the relationship to my friend and roommate, Liz. She is sometimes quite cold and closed off, and this triggers some old wounds inside me that I'm still in the process of healing.
It's a tough one.
So I struggle between showing up vulnerably, but also setting boundaries in a respectful way.
Beautiful.
Any advice on what I can say to her?
Oh God, say nothing. Say nothing. This is good because this is something that I've experienced in my life at different times in my life. People that I've lived with, we as monks live together sometimes, and it isn't something like we're friendly with each other. And it's interesting because they aren't people that I would normally choose to be with. Like we're very different people. We've chosen the same monastic path, so we become family. It's really an inherited family. And so we learn how to be caring, how to be loving, how to have conversations like this. And I've actually found, now I'm someone who I think historically has been an over processor. Like I really like talking about emotions and how does that make you feel? Is this how it makes me feel? And like, well, how you feel makes me feel this way. And they're like, well, how you feel makes me feel this way. So I've actually found that sometimes, not always, but sometimes a really powerful practice is saying nothing and being the way
Mm,
that we want to be, and also become the way that will create the best solution for that
mm, mm,
situation. So in this example, when I've navigated this for myself, someone has been going through something. I've experienced them as cold, similar to what you're saying. what was it? Cold and something.
Closed off.
Closed off, exactly. So what closed and closed off and cold, they're going through something clearly.
Yes.
So how can I not let that get to me and be who it is in the way that I want to be?
Yeah.
Warm, open. I'm passing by somebody and just like smile. And they're just like, and I'm just like, okay, I didn't need you to, I didn't need you to smile at me. Would it have been better? Yes, for sure. Would it have been nice? Increase the vibe? 100%. You didn't. And maybe that's just fine, right? So how do I take that as an opportunity to become more of who I am, regardless of the circumstance?
Mhm.
When we start practicing that, our life literally becomes our creation. I mean, it is our creation anyway, but we unlock the power to create our life when we stop expecting other people to be a certain way based on our behavior. Because unfortunately, if we're walking around, and I really feel you, by the way, on this one, Pauline. If we're walking around and we let ourselves like, oh, when someone doesn't be the way that we want them to be, we limit our ability to create our life. We limit our ability to create people in a certain way. Because if we are like an embodied, joyful, warm, kind person, regardless of how people are, people will feel compelled to want to be more of that themselves, right? It's that like leading by example piece. So really feel you, and it's a difficult situation when you're living with someone like that. It really is. And it's like, well, you've created this circumstance where you're living with this person. It's a good opportunity to grow, right? And lean into that, like, how can I be how I want to be regardless of the circumstance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I would just add on there too, because I really hear the part of you that's also saying it's triggering some
Yeah.
old wounds for you. Um, sorry, I just got distracted. I got to bring my mind fully back.
The wounds that were happening there, that were
Hmm.
getting elicited there.
Yeah. Well, kind of coming back to this idea of compassion with oneself, to
Mm.
just say like, okay, I recognize it. Part of me feels hurt.
Mhm.
And how can I be loving with that part of me? Many of you have heard me share a personal story that I have around recognizing that when others were judging me, I was judging myself.
Mm.
When others would close off to me, I would close off to myself. And I had this profound awakening at a point where I said, can I love myself even if others don't accept me? Can I accept myself even if others don't accept me? So you might even try this in this case. Can I be loving and joyful with myself even if she is not?
Yeah.
Can I be accepting of myself even if I don't feel accepted by her? And then if that's something you wish to take on, how can you practice that in the moment? I love you, Pauline. I accept you just as you are. It's okay that you feel hurt. It's okay that you want to feel more warm and loving. How can you turn toward yourself with kindness and love and care in a way that you get to experience what you're wanting from her?
Mm.
Fill yourself up with that when you're not receiving it in the environment. And of course, this extends to any of our relationships, right? Because, like Jivan Das is saying, we can't control other people. So, one of the most empowering and liberating things we can do for ourselves is be ourselves authentically, who we wish to be, how we wish to experience our lives, regardless of how others are being, because they're in their own world,
Mm.
right? Like them being cold, them being shut down, them being whatever they're being is about them. So, how can we turn toward ourselves?
I want to say one thing, one
Yes,
quick thing.
yes, yes.
One thing that I discovered for myself is the more that I give myself what I need, become the person that I want other people to help me be, I become that person, the more free people are to become that for themselves and for me. So, meaning, if more in your situation, Pauline, there's a cold roommate, closed off person. Okay, I generate that. Not only do I bring the loving kindness, the compassion for myself, for healing those parts of myself, I also start to not rely on others for that. As soon as I take back that expectation that people are going to give that to me, people become that. It's
Mm.
magical, right?
Totally.
Like as soon as I stop like needing, quote unquote, and it's an understandable need that we all have, including myself. But if I practice stop needing other people to be a certain way for me, the more paradoxically they become that in the
Mhm.
outside world. Because I
Mhm.
think people don't feel the expectation or the almost the bind or
Mhm.
the intensity of having to be a certain way. They can't feel free to be how they are, right?
Mhm.
So it just frees up relationships in a beautiful way, based on what you're saying.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
We could go and go and go in this
Mhm.
conversation, and thank you all so much for your questions and
Yeah.
your comments and everything that you're sharing, your love with each other, your
Mhm.
personal shares. It's such a gift to be together. It is time for us to come to a close. Jivan Das, anything you'd like to share as we
I
come to a
just love
close?
you all. What a sweet, beautiful community. The hearts that are flowing on the screen are a physical representation, visual representation of the vibe. It's just love.
That's how many hearts we've gotten today.
It's outing. You all are so sweet, and I so appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty, and your transparency, and your engagement and your care for each other. It's a gift for me, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for blessing us with
Thank
your presence and wisdom. Thank you all for bringing your beautiful presence and your love, all that you are.
you.
Something I failed to mention, Jivan Das is a teacher here on Insight Timer, and he has some content up here. So please check out Jivan Das's page. His name is in the title of this program. I'll also drop it here in the chat. Um, Go check him out, follow him. There's also an about section where you can learn more about him and stay more connected with his work. If you have a struggling teen, this is your, I wanted to say, like, this is your man, this is your monk right here. This is it. No, no. I mean, I love like your internal dialogue. Every time you talked about yourself, you're like, bro, bro, bro. Like you're still broing. Monk, bro. Like not, they're not mutually exclusive.
That's right.
So anyway, please check him out. Who would love to see Jivan Das back here with us sometime?
Fun.
Yeah, I would love to have you back here with us.
So
Yay. I love you all. Yay. Oh, love you, love you, love you. Oh, wonderful. Wendy said this has been very helpful. Thank you both. I'm so glad. And I know so many of you shared comments that I didn't see or that I didn't read today. Know that all of your contributions are so, so appreciated. Yes, yes. Thank you. Look at all these people saying they want you back.
oh,
All
thank
right, great.
you.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'm so grateful to see you all. Great, Rebecca. Ah,
Mm.
okay, my friends, wishing you a beautiful rest of your day, your night. I don't have the next live up, but I will put it up in the next couple of days. You can check out my profile page to see when those are. I think we'll be meeting next week, Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And of course, I have so much content here on the app to support you. Insight Timer and I both have pretty active Instagram pages as well as this one over here. So if you need some loving reminders, come check us out. And just thank you again. And thank you again.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love you,
you.
love you,
Thank
love
you.
you. Joy, we'll be together soon.
So fun.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, are we still streaming?